Boys and girls, men and women, welcome back to the channel. My name's SnewJ. You guys know that song that goes la 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 la, and I met her at One Oak. Well, we're gonna meet the man who created that song, Mr. Bryce Vine. This guy has created multiple hits. You probably heard him on the radio. He's collaborated with some of the best, but it hasn't always been easy. For an artist of his caliber, before getting signed, he worked multiple jobs without the guarantee that he would make it in the music industry. Now, he's living his dream, making millions, so there's gonna be a lot of value in this video. Also, just wanna let everybody know I have a private community with like-minded individuals. We have multi-millionaires in there, entrepreneurs. If you click that link in the description below and join this community, it would change your life. We have live video calls every week for multi-millionaires, people that are already doing it. So whether you wanna learn how to trade stocks like a pro, or you wanna learn real estate, or you wanna learn how to open a business or start a business, or you wanna learn how to build your social media, click that link in the description below. Remember, you will not level up in this life if you don't have a solid network of people around you.
She said, run it back, say you like that.
We got my guy, Bryce Vine.
What's poppin'?
Thank you for letting us into your beautiful home. You're the first artist that we ever had on this channel. And
just to be nominated is an honor,
yeah,
thank you.
And we want to know the business side of things, of how things work out for you. Funny story, I discovered your music. I was driving in Laguna Beach with my girlfriend, and we heard la 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 la, and I met her at One Oak, and I was like damn, and then we got into like the rabbit hole of like Drew Barrymore, and I was like, I like this guy's style.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I've always been curious. You're a signed artist, right? You're signed to
Warner.
When were you signed?
We released Drew Barrymore independently in 2017, so 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, about 5 years.
So was that the song that got you the recognition?
Okay. Yeah, I'd been making music, since I was in high school, but I'd met like every label. I put out my first EP in maybe 2012.
Wow.
And just worked odd jobs. I made music. I would work jobs that I could work at night, so during the day I could make music. And met like every label under the sun, and they all treated me kind of the same. Oh, we don't really know if he's rap or if he's pop. I'm like, yeah, that's what I am.
Yeah.
And then, I just spent like 6 months. I'll talk a little bit about like a routine, which I think is really important for a lot of up-and-coming artists and musicians and writers to get into. It's very hard for right-brain people, especially people with ADD, to like create a routine for themselves.
I see.
And that was like a big part of what kind of changed everything.
So you have ADD?
Oh yeah.
Do you have ADHD?
Yeah.
Yeah?
ADHD, ADD depression, all that, all the good stuff.
Now, as an artist right now, being signed, are you able to talk about, how much do you make? I'm just gonna be straight up.
It's not a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
You're working sometimes for nothing, and then you're not working and making money sometimes. So it really depends on the year. I'm good with money because I remember what it was like to be broke. And I think a lot of people get signed, they get a lump sum of money, and they don't know what to do with it. I didn't know what to do with it, but I was lucky enough where my stepmom had some idea of what to do with the money. People in my family never did. I put it into, what is it called?
Well, you put it into this, right? For
yeah,
sure.
Put it into this. But before that, when I first got a advance from the label, because that's typically what happens, they'll offer you a certain amount of money. Yeah, it was small. I got a $300,000 advance.
Okay.
Not much, considering you think of somebody like Dominic Fike got $4 million.
Yeah.
Right? Which is actually insane when, especially these days when you don't have like a song that they're pushing or something like that. Then you kind of get to decide what you do with that money.
Okay.
Whether you save it or you put it as a down payment for a house or you just spend it in Vegas.
Right.
I know people who've done all of those things. You put some of it away into our IRA account. You put some of it away into savings. You can put some of it into the stock market.
Is that kind of what you did?
The least that you have liquid is always good. Liquid meaning like cash on hand, because then they'll just tax you on that.
Right. Okay, so you get an advance for $300,000, and is that kind of what you did with it, like what you just explained, like how you invested it? Stock market, retirement account, house.
Yeah.
What was your best year in terms of, how much you got paid?
Funny, it would have been 2020. Touring for me has been kind of how I built my career from the ground up. It was like being a good opener for other artists until I could have my own shows, and getting into the college market, which is hugely overlooked. Colleges pay well, they have a built-in crowd, they're young. If you can get into that market, it's a huge win, because over the years they'll just increase, the more songs that you have come out, the more popular you become. Colleges want to hire you, and to this day, like, I play colleges for a significant amount of money.
Okay.
And
what was the highest paid college event that you performed at?
I don't want to say the name of the college.
Yeah, you're good. You don't have to say the name.
The highest so far has been 85.
85K. Wow.
And that's not even close to like what some people get.
Right, absolutely.
It's good enough for me. I'm not complaining.
That's pretty damn good.
I'm a single guy.
Yeah.
So the advance that they give you, you have to think of as the money that's going to have to last you while you're making your album. It's going to cover everything. It's going to cover recording costs. It's going to cover photo shoots. It's going to cover your album art. It's going to cover, in some cases, the band, if that's included in your deal.
Yeah.
You really have to think of that money like you're just putting it right back into the business. It's not stuff to go and buy a Louis bag with.
Right. You don't want to splurge on anything that's not going to make you money back. Yeah.
The label will own the masters. Typically, there'll be a split between you and the label for what you make, but you owe them that money too. It's like a loan, that money that was advanced. So you're probably not going to make anything until at least you pay, from the label side, at least until you pay back what they gave you.
So the 300,000, for example. Okay.
Which is an easy number to pay back as opposed to like
4 million.
Yeah. But on the other hand of it, the higher the advance that they give you, the more skin in the game they have. They need to make that money back, so the more they have to work you.
Makes sense.
Losing 300K and like dropping an artist is it's not going to get anybody fired. Probably.
Right. Okay.
But now the landscape is even more different, and I think a lot of people would make the argument that you don't need a major label anymore because they've put themselves in the position to need TikTok
to promote themselves.
To promote the music.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What's your take on that? Because like they're more often on TikTok now, and they're saying that's the new way for up and coming artists.
There's always a new way that the music industry kicks itself in the ass, and this is the new way. It can't last because they have no control over it. Right now, there's multi-billion-dollar industry, and they're completely reliant. Music executives, A&Rs, social teams, all connected to this huge conglomerate, completely dependent on a Chinese application that they have no control over.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's not a good business plan.
Right.
And it's not forward thinking. Now, I get TikTok. I understand why it works. It's like the new search engine, but with videos,
Yeah.
You can search anything. I went to Italy for 3 weeks by myself just to get away and like clear my head, not even worry about writing. I'm Italian, so it felt like going back to my roots a little bit. I didn't know anyone in Italy. I was going by myself. I went on TikTok. I didn't even go on Google. I went on TikTok and I was like, what to do as a solo traveler in Italy, and it helped. It gives you tips. I'm like, cool. That makes sense. This is the new search engine.
Yeah.
And it's a place where influencers of all kinds and all ages from all landscapes can kind of compete for your attention on content. The problem is that now musicians are part of that. They're competing with every other kind of influencer on the same platform.
That is true, yeah.
Which is weird to me because if you're an artist and you get signed to be an artist and make music, that should be your primary focus, and it should be somebody's job, your job as well, but somebody's job if you're signed to promote that music.
Right, yeah.
So if your full job now is just competing with the landscape of all influence, it just muddies things so much to the point where I guarantee you the major labels are going to render themselves obsolete
Yeah.
in the next few years.
Yeah. So it's a competition for with the labels and TikTok now.
Well, if I have to compete with every influencer ever anyway for you to do anything with my music that already has a fan base and that's for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
imagine trying to just come up, because I'm telling you, I have to do it too. And I never thought of myself as somebody that wanted to be out there on the internet, like, this is my skincare routine or anything like that.
Too much. You're giving them too much, right?
Yeah, I think there's such a thing as overexposure even for smaller artists. Like, there's a mystique to artistry that people are allured by, and we're completely removing that from the equation when the only way to promote a great song is to have somebody do something on the internet that might be a little outlandish and makes them look a little like thirsty.
Yeah.
Part of artistry is a freedom.
Right. And there's no scarcity, or there's no...
But it'll correct itself. Everything does. Yeah. I just think it'll be at the mercy of record labels realizing that they've put themselves in the position where a independent artist who has a huge song popping on TikTok will go to the label and they'll offer him a certain amount of money, and if he's smart right now, he'll realize you guys are just going to do the exact same stuff I've already done for myself. Mm-hmm. Why do I need you except to maybe get like a lump sum of money?
Right.
And if you're patient, then you're going to realize it's not worth signing away the rights to all your music.
Yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time.
Yeah.
For music. Luckily, I was in the position where I kind of got signed right before all this happened. COVID changed everything.
Yeah.
Because people were at home.
TikTok was blew up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's a different landscape.
Let me ask you this. So you get, for example, for a college show, you get paid $85K, example. What was your best year?
It would have been 2020, my best year.
And how much did that give you in revenue?
$2.5 million.
2.5
in gross.
Okay.
That doesn't include
all expenses and whatnot. Okay.
Which is more than anybody thinks, but I'm not complaining.
No, yeah, for sure. In your position right now, you just enjoy the music, huh? Is that the vibe I'm getting?
Sometimes.
Why is it just sometimes?
Because it's not always fun.
Why is that?
Because all this other stuff comes into play. I like days like this that are very few and far between, where I can just sit at my computer and struggle at learning one of my favorite Tupac songs on the piano, and then go to yoga, and then go train at Aloe with one of my best friends from high school, which I'm doing after this, and kind of a refresh, putting yourself into a grounding position, like really have your feet on the ground, really sit there and not be on your phone and struggle through something to get better at it, and then I can make music. When it becomes a job like anything else, like a little bit of, it's hard to balance the artistry of it. Like it's hard to come up with stuff. Even going into a studio, and being there all day. There's no windows. You're in a room for maybe 9 hours that day with somebody maybe that you just met.
Yeah.
And trying to come up with a vibe and write about a party and talking about everybody's drinking. It's just two grown men in here.
Yeah.
And that just gets a little monotonous. I still love it overall. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't. But there's aspects to it, it's going to become a business at some point, and you're going to have to learn how to balance that.
Yeah.
You don't have to stick to one thing either. I focused my whole life on making music, and I got further than I ever thought I would at one point, and then you have to make new goals. So, after a couple platinum records and you start to sell out the shows, and you get the live show really good, and you got a great band and everybody's on board there, cool. Now what do you focus on?
Yeah.
Other ventures. I wrote a pilot over the last 8 months with one of my friends talking about this exact thing, what it's like, the landscape of today in LA specifically, but in 2023, for people trying to come up in whatever industry they want to do. And I fully intend on pushing that to studios once the writer's strike is over.
I see.
And then I partnered with a winery out of Oregon, made my own wine. It's called Pretty Bird. It's that pink bottle up there.
Okay. Should we bring it over here? Or?
Yeah, it's empty, but
just a quick promo?
Sure. Pretty Bird wines. Yeah.
Go check that out, guys.
Hey, and fans can get it online.
Okay.
And so it was just like, cool. How do I use my artistry in other ways now that I've been successful to a certain level in an industry that's really at like a standstill at the moment?
Yeah.
And it's all across the board, you know, artists as big as Post Malone to artists at like a medium level to starting artists are all facing the same issue where they can't break they can't break unless they break on TikTok, which the industry has no control over. It's literally a different country, so you gotta like explore other avenues and challenge yourself to find other things that you like, you know, and that you want to be involved in. And it's been and it takes a lot of the pressure off just making music.
Of course, yeah.
You know, I haven't written that much lately. Like I've just kind of been enjoying taking piano lessons and making beats again. So you
make beats, huh?
A little bit.
Okay.
But I had, you know, on the road so much, I don't even like to bring my laptop a lot of times because I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
From the travel. You know, I just sit in this little room.
Yeah.
It's not a decked out studio. It just reminds me of home.
It's sick, man.
From my perspective on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that those all help anybody.
Right.
Those kind of things. Having your sacred place. Really sitting down and thinking about the things that you want to do outside of what your passion is that can maybe help expand it. People will want to work with you too when they see that you're motivated and excited. I've always been like a hard worker.
Yeah.
You know, even if like it takes me longer to accomplish anything because I just can't get things focused very easily. I did want to bring up what helps to get you to the right mindset stage where you can be discovered.
Yeah, as an artist. Yeah.
My dad always says that luck or success is when luck and opportunity meet. It's very true. Like, it wasn't until I stopped trying to get signed. I'd gotten kind of dissed by the head of Capitol Records, which I now can look out on.
Yeah, oh, damn. Oh, that's crazy.
Where I would wake up at 8 a.m. every day. I'd go to the gym and run on the treadmill. And then I would go to the sauna and I would read a book for like 20 minutes in the sauna. And then I go to the studio and I would fail at coming up with an idea every day for a few weeks. I would just start things and not like it and not know what to say and then scrap it. Next day do the same thing.
Yeah.
And after about a month, the wheels started turning in the other direction and I couldn't stop making great stuff and ideas. And one of the things that came of that was Drew Barrymore, and the next was La La Land, and the next was I'm Not Alright. And all of a sudden, I'm already on my roll, not worried about what anyone else is doing. And then all of a sudden, labels are coming to me.
Yeah, it's an energy thing, right?
Yeah, it's an energy thing, and it's difficult, you know, but it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely, because the work that you put in, you're getting that energy reciprocated in a way. But like when you're making, I want to talk about when you're making Drew Barrymore, and this is before you got signed. Like, what did you post it first, or like you just posted on all streaming platforms and it just blew up, or how did that happen?
No, and that's one of the things that's scary about the landscape of music today. None of my songs have ever blown up day one.
Right.
Even as far back as Sour Patch Kids. When I released Drew Barrymore, we just put it on Spotify.
Wow.
we had some outside connection to somebody at Spotify. I can't even remember their name. It was a friend of one of the writers, who thought he could at least pitch it to New Music Friday, and they put it on New Music Friday.
Okay.
And we sent it around to a few labels that my producer at the time trusted.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, I was getting calls from like label heads. I was so used to being turned down that I went in to meet Geffen Records, like in my pajamas, basically, like the same slept in.
Yeah.
Like didn't even brush my teeth, and they brought in the whole team, and they're like, "We think you're a star. We want to sign you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I was not prepared for this at all."
Yeah.
But no, nothing just blew up overnight. It took a lot of effort from a lot of people and a lot of like
reaching out.
Yeah, and like, oh God, and I traveled. If you have a song that somebody believes in, you need someone that believes in it, in the music. The woman that I signed with, Rainey Hancock, she really believed in me and that song, and she was willing to put money into it, and time and resources, and I went and traveled probably for 2 months straight to like every radio station around the country, all the way to Europe.
Wow.
To meet radio stations in Paris and London and Sweden, and I mean it was nonstop. Like, you're still working this record and proving yourself to them as well. Just, you don't have to do anything special. You just don't be a douchebag.
Yeah. Yeah. So like what I'm getting out of this is, for any artist that's maybe in that position that you were in, and they feel like they have a hit song, is reach out to other, maybe they have a producer that knows someone here at Spotify, or just see whoever you can reach out to, and I mean, even if you don't, everyone has Instagram now, so you could just find out kind of who these people are if you really want it enough. How does one find out though? It's just a quick, or just a simple search, Spotify, go down the rabbit hole of like, oh, he works at Spotify, let me hit this guy up? Is that how you would do it? How I would do it? Yeah. I would look at the biggest playlists on Spotify and see who created them, and then see if I could find them and their email, or just guess the email, or even you can guess a lot of emails. Yeah. Especially with major labels and stuff, you can guess a lot of emails. Okay. Mike Karen at Gmail, probably, honestly. Even now, I just started a publishing venture in the last 8 months with a co-writer. It's called The Main Characters, and we signed 2 guys, but then we had to let one go because he was committing tax fraud. But he writes songs. We help him along the way. We gave him an advance together, the writer, because he had nothing. He didn't even have a phone. But he was a great writer and a skilled keyboardist, and he was willing to do the work. We gave him an advance. He lives off that, and we set up sessions, and he sets up his own. He finds out the people that he works well with. He sends us songs pretty much every day now, and the ones that we think are the strongest, I send out to my connections. And even then, it's so difficult to get people to work. You just keep doing it. It only takes one thing to work. That's the good thing. Yeah. It just takes one thing to work to change everything, for the doors to open. So you just keep doing it. You just keep sending songs to people. When you meet people out, it's good to go out in LA. So you and your co-writer, you're writing these songs and you're sending it out, is from my understanding. Or our writer is writing them, and we kind of help navigate as he's writing it sometimes, or after the fact, if it's really good. Taste is a very valuable thing. I'm learning, like, not everybody has good taste. A lot of people think they do. So if you think a song is a hit, doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it doesn't mean until it's proven that your taste and your confidence in your taste is valuable. Right. And other people think it's a hit as well. Yeah. A hit, a great song, whatever. I try not to now fall into the game
after having like a string of things that worked, I still just release songs all the time that the record label or there's no plan to like send to radio. I just know it's a good song, and I think my fan base will appreciate it, and that's why they keep coming to the shows. Like, as long as it's authentic and doesn't feel like you're pandering, and it doesn't feel like you're insulting their intelligence, I think. Yeah. As long as there's still some artistry to it, they'll show up for you.
Do you know how large your fan base is? Is it you judge it from the shows?
I don't even know how to determine that. I have 223,000 Instagram followers, and bigger shows than like most of the artists that I listen to, and some of them don't. But I listen to a lot of stuff, and I'm not saying I have bigger audiences than Drake. I'm saying you'd be surprised how it doesn't translate a lot of times, that you could have like 7 million TikTok followers and, you know, like 4 million Instagram followers and still nobody showing up to your show.
Yeah, that is true.
And that is a factor I don't know how to explain. Honestly, I don't know. Some people sell and some people don't, and why some people's influence doesn't reflect in ticket sales.
Because how many monthly listeners do you have on Spotify again?
4 million and something.
That's good. Yeah,
it's great. Dude, I'm
for sure
grateful all the time for just being able to sustain a career in something with no guarantees like this.
Yeah, and you've been doing music. Well, before you got signed, you said you were working a couple of jobs and whatnot.
Oh, I worked all kinds of jobs. Oh, yeah.
So you've been doing music full time now for the last 5 years.
The last time I had a job, 2017. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. What's the most people you had in a show? Most fans?
Just one of my shows.
Yeah, just one of your shows. Whatever. Yeah.
My biggest show has been 2,500 people, 2,800 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it's great.
Yeah, it's
I'll
great.
be grateful forever that many people show up in a city that I don't live to come and, you know.
Yeah, support and like.
And that it helps them relieve whatever they're dealing with. The live show is overlooked by a lot of people. I heard Dominic Fike talk in an interview the other day saying that when he first started, he thought that the live show was just something you need to get through. And I think, and he realized that it's way bigger than that and way more important.
Way more impactful.
And way more impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah, way more impactful to people. This is where they're coming to relieve something for themselves, some stress, to sweat it out, to sing it out. The same way I did when I was a kid and would go see bands at Warped Tour and get into the mosh pit. So to have that understanding and to realize that it's not just you and your show up there and then a check and then you're off to the next place. Sure. But you'd be surprised how overlooked that is.
When's your next show in Cali? I'm gonna buy some tickets. I gotta go. Or are you done with the tour?
No, I leave on Tuesday.
Okay.
For Canada.
Okay.
I'm doing a string of Canada dates, and then Madison, Illinois.
You're excited?
Always. I love playing live.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I love playing live, but it's hard for me. I haven't figured out the right way to be like in writing mode on the road.
On tour, yeah.
Yeah. So this time I've decided like, cool, I'm not gonna drink, because it's very like, you have so much downtime. The more that you can cut out, that's a distraction. You know, girls, drinking, like going out to clubs, like if you can cut that out and then those aren't even options, then it's almost like out of boredom at first. You have to kind of get creative again.
Yes. That's a good point.
And I've enjoyed the splendors of tour and all that. It's been how I've built my career. So now it's about like, cool, what's the next phase of artistry? And I can't really figure that out if I'm doing all the fun stuff at the same time, meaning like, well, the show is fun.
Yeah.
That's the best place in the world for me. Like, I relieve a lot of my own anxiety and depression just from doing the live shows. But you can't, it's very hard to be creative if you're like masking it with other stuff.
Yeah, I see. Because you're making money from tours, from streams, from your publishing company that you started.
That hasn't made me any money.
Not yet.
But that's the idea.
Yeah, but it will. With your wine, right? Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Also hasn't made me much money yet. It's made me a little money, but you just go into it and then you figure it out.
Of course, yeah. And you're doing it. That's the most important thing. And you're just gonna learn along the way, and then something's gonna just how.
Sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't.
Exactly. You talk about anxiety and depression. Do you know where it stems from? Do you know this is something that you have since you're young?
Yeah, I don't need to like get into all that like crazy. You know, I'm pretty much an open book, but it's been my mom had it and my grandmother had it, and I've had people in my family that had psychotic episodes, even just from simple things like marijuana overusage. Yeah. So it's in there. I've had alcoholism in my family. Mm-hmm. It's why I, especially growing up in LA, was kind of always weary of drugs. Yeah. Like there's certain ones that I've never tried that I never will, and there's certain ones I don't really have a fear of. Yeah, it's always been there. Like I've tried to go off of everything before. During the pandemic, I experimented with going off of everything, like pharmaceutical, because pharmaceutical industry, they are the devils, but unfortunately some of their products are necessary for people's brain chemistry. Really? Yeah. Do you take anything for your depression right now? And has it helped? Oh yeah. It gives you like a bottom line of how low you can go. My dad had it too, and I remember he always described it as this dark cloud that would just come from nowhere, and there's no escaping it, and it just kind of follows you around. And people say, well, just go into the sun. And it's like, I can't. The cloud is literally following me everywhere I go. I describe it like if you're feeling a certain way and you're trying to do something about it, because some people feel depressed and it's because they're not doing anything, or even making any adjustments, reading a book, listening to a podcast about it, watching a YouTube video by Andrew Huberman about the chemistry of the brain, doing breathing exercises that oxygenate your bloodstream and your brainstem so that you can at least come at it from a certain perspective. If you're doing all the work and then you're still depressed, it's like, okay, there's really something wrong here. And I describe it like when you start taking medication for it, as kind of you're living your life with blurry vision and you don't even realize it. And someone goes, you're squinting a lot, or you realize you're squinting a lot. And you're like, no, my eyesight's fine. Yeah. No one can tell you that you have blurry vision if you don't realize it at first until you go to the optometrist. Yeah. And then you put on glasses and you realize, oh my God, I've been trying to live my life through blurry vision when there was glasses available. And that's kind of what depression medication was for me. It was like I was already trying to do everything on my own, and it wasn't helping, and then I put on glasses. But no, like I said, during the pandemic, I weaned off of antidepressants and then stopped taking medication for ADD. And slowly but surely I ended up like closing my blinds maybe about a month in, shutting everybody out, and and just getting into this really dark place that I'd never really been in before. And then I started taking the medication. I talked to a therapist and a psychologist, and I started taking different medication. And as long as I've realized now that for sure that it's necessary and it helps.
What is your writing process like? Because I know you haven't been writing for a while. You're on tour and you're doing all these things. like, how do you think of things, and how do you like put into storytelling? Like, what's the process?
People ask about the process all the time. It's hard to have a routine once you have a lot going on.
I see.
In this industry, like, I would like to do piano lessons every Tuesday, and I would like to say that I will do piano lessons every Tuesday, and then after the piano lesson I'll sit at the computer and I'll make a beat and try to write down an idea, at least a hook, and then stop and come back to it later. I can't. I'm gonna be gone on Tuesday, so it's just it's now it's like trying to maintain a career where you're traveling for a living with creating a routine.
Yeah,
is very difficult.
No, for sure.
So now what I do is I just, especially on planes, I listen to ideas that I've already made, and if I can get like one line or two lines of a song that I'm really into, an idea that I'm really into, then I stop and I move on to something else, and I try to get 2 lines of that, and then I come back later and I try to get 2 more lines of the thing that I really like.
So is it the beat first or the writing first?
Typically there's music. It's not even a full beat. Like it'll be like a loop. You know, even just I'll start playing just a couple chords on the piano. I'll put that into Logic. I'll record a voice note of an idea. Try to get some lyrics. It starts to get a little funky, and I don't know where to go with it. I move on. Yeah, because otherwise I'll get into this negative headspace. I think this happens to a lot of writers. You kind of start to spiral, and I've been in the position where I'm afraid to get into the studio because I'm afraid for this spiraling to start happen, where I start to think I'm never going to come up with another good idea. Yeah, which is ridiculous because I know it's not true, but it's amazing what the mind is capable of convincing you of, and so to eliminate that, just take the pressure off, get 2 great lines, and move on. Or step away from writing completely, even if it's for the rest of the day. I'd rather have, my catalog's not that big. You know, I'd rather have 12 really great songs than put out 100 pretty good ones just to like maintain. When
you think of stuff to write, is it experiences of your own? Or is it like, could it be like through somebody else's eyes? Like, how do you come up with that?
Sometimes it's real experience, but I've talked so much about my own experiences in songs. It helps to kind of come at things that inspire me and then try to write from the perspective of the people in that. Good example, I have a song called San Junipero. It's based on an episode of Black Mirror called San Junipero. And I try to put myself into that world and then write from that perspective. Which is why reading helps a lot too. It just opens up what you even consider as a possibility for a change in a story.
That's good,
and gets you used to visually seeing written words and sentence structure.
Probably a lot of people watching right now that are aspiring artists and, you know, want to get into your level or in the business of music. What is like some practical tips you can give them to get to this point?
Sure. I like to give people small tips more than big tips, things that they can actually utilize. It's easy for me from the perspective that I have now. Oh, you should just like hit up every A&R and like, you know, just hand out your CDs on Hollywood Boulevard. But like, you know, okay. But like, what are some things that can get you into the right mindset? What are some things that can make you feel good and help you create your own voice in your own world that you want, you know, to invite people into with your music? And like I said, like, go to a used bookstore, read the first page, some random book, and if it intrigues you, grab it and spend like the next month reading like 2 pages a day and come up with new ideas. The other is obviously like save up for a laptop and an interface and an SM7, which is like the most basic mic, and go on YouTube and just start training yourself to like come up with stuff.
Okay.
You know, even if it doesn't sound amazing.
Let's say an artist is already putting music out there, but they're trying to get to, you know, they're trying to get recognized or trying to get more listeners. What is your best tip on that? Just to keep posting consistently or uploading consistently? Or is it more of a connection game? Like, hey, you got to start reaching out to people.
No, I don't think that's the case. You know, I don't have like a lot of celebrity friends. I'm not in like what people would consider super cool circles. I'm not hanging out with like Machine Gun Kelly on the weekends and going on dates with, you know, like it's just, I think if it's what you're supposed to do and you're willing to struggle through it and create something interesting, where people need to hear your voice, then it will find an audience. And then people also can like follow the breadcrumbs. You know, I meet fans to this day that are like, I came to your band's show when you were 16 years old.
Wow.
In Ventura, California, opening for Sham 69, a punk band.
That's dope.
And then, yeah, so, but the product's just got to be good.
So focus on the quality of the art.
I think so.
Yeah, and it should take care of itself, is what you're saying?
To an extent, yeah. I think the road will, I think there is such a thing as manifestation. I think that if you are putting out something of quality into the world, that it's impossible for it not to get noticed as long as you share it.
That's a good point, because a lot of people don't believe in manifestation or energy just because they can't see it or whatnot, but it's an actual real thing.
Well,
it's worked for you, and it's worked for many people.
It's a mix of manifestation and actually doing the work.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
people that think that they're going to manifest everything without actually doing anything.
Oh, no, yeah, you got to do something.
And I'm like, if that worked, then people in Mogadishu would manifest clean water, you know?
Yeah.
But I do think that it's about the mindset of that this can be achieved, and that if I make something worthwhile and I put my soul into it and I struggle when it's hard, and put it out to the world, that it will get noticed. You know, again, Dominic Fike, I like him a lot because I think he's a good example of somebody that has the right mindset. Like, he put out his first EP and then he was in jail while it was blowing up.
Wow.
I mean, if you asked him then, like, if his little EP while he's on his way to prison was going to matter, if anyone was going to hear it, he probably would have said absolutely not, you know? And if there was ever a testament to people finding good quality stuff, it's that.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm someone you want. You tell me I'm something you need. But baby, you know that I'm bad for you, yeah. Why you gotta be so naive? If I treat you like one I don't want, then you know I'm just so hard to please. I lie to your face to get